So Rick Ross highlighting that he went on the 85 South show is an issue for many reasons. So the first one, doing a show for free and not finishing the job, what do you expect to get from that? Kudos, congratulations. Uh, you pretty much defeated the purpose of you even going on the show. It'd been better if you just dubbed them or not even responded at all. Because if you go on the show and just leave, it just looked as the disrespect, and it looks as you don't care about the show or the brand or the people involved. So it's kind of a mute point to kind of bring up that you did the show for free, because it's kind of just like you're making an excuse for why you didn't finish the job, which makes you look bad in return. Because you could have asked for money and they maybe would have gave you money, but you never. It don't seem like you ever asked. They asked you to be on the show, and then you could have gave a price, and then if they didn't like the price, they can simply just said, no, we don't pay nobody, maybe we'll see you in the future or something like that. But for you to go on the show, take time out of your schedule, go up to the show and just leave, it's just, I don't know, it just looks unhinged. It doesn't look right. Especially the point that DC made that you went to another podcast, a white podcast afterwards, and then you finished their show, but you didn't finish theirs. So I don't understand if he had some personal beef. He sounded like he didn't, but we wanted to know what was going on. Maybe if he was going through something that day, and they talked about this, you could have just told us if he was going through something. You could have just told us. We could have rescheduled. But embarrassing that you embarrassed the show and them in the process of what you did. So I don't get that part. Secondly, Rick Ross should not, um, him saying that he did the show for free doesn't look good on him from a business perspective. And I say that because as a black man, um, he should have done this out of good nature and just helping his fellow brother instead of trying to put a price tag on everything. And we know these hip hop artists and rappers nowadays, everything's about the bag, doing everything for a look. It's always got to be some kind of transactional relationship. What happened to just helping your fellow brother? Because we know people in other communities help their brothers and sisters for free, but we always have to put a price tag on stuff, and that's why we can't get anywhere seeing as a race, because a lot of times we always have to do stuff transactionally. When I help people, I give the game for free. I don't charge people for that type of stuff, because I know for me, most of the time I do it from my bootstraps up. I do it learning on my own, and I want to give the game to other people because I know when I started, nobody really helped me. Nobody really gave me any information. I had to do it on my own. I knew people who were in position to do that, but I don't want to trouble people, or sometimes it's too inconvenient to ask because everyone has busy schedules. But nevertheless, if you have that time and you have the information, why are not you are not passing this information along, especially as someone who looks like you, who shares the same struggle that you do, someone who you said you cared about. So Rick Ross, I was disappointed in him doing this just for simple fact of you doing the interview. Of course, you said you was doing it for free, but they're interviewing you for free as well. So it's not errors a give and take there, and you're giving good looks out to other people. And DC pointed out, like, they don't pay anybody for the show. They had Snoop Dogg on the show. They've had all of these hip hop legends that who could have requested money, never asked for it. They had some of the top notch talent on this show. And for you to think that you're above it all and just saying, well, I was doing it for free, so I can just leave when I want, doesn't make any sense at all. It actually makes you look worse in the light. Um, and Rick Ross is one of those artists that I've learned the game from as far as hip hop goes, talking about being in bad contracts and writing for other artists and not getting your share of the pie, or much of it, and all of these things. And for you to turn around and turn your back on these people, it just seems like, hurt people hurt people. And that's what it seems like with Rick Ross. Cause I know he made a big fuss about Birdman not paying his people, and all these different CEOs and labels that do it. And he never did it. But now it just looks like you're in the game of doing what you was preaching against. And they talk about that. I think Shannon Sharp talks about it all the time. You ended up on a road that you tried so hard to not end up on a road but then you took a detour straight to that road. So it looks very bad in that aspect. And this is bigger than Rick Ross, in my opinion, because and I talked about it before, the black community about helping each other, because we won't be able to get nobody else is going to do it if we don't do it. So if you're in a position to help other people, to give people the information that they need to be successful, give them the opportunities, not just giving a handout, not giving out money, giving out free game, just giving out advice, giving out, saying, don't go down this road, take this road. I've been down this road. This is where I've been, just giving that simple information. And we're not doing that for each other. We're stepping over each other, trying to get to the top, or climbing on, stepping over on top of people, trying to get to the top, instead of trying to help each other. And we can both get up at the same time. Um, so I think I was very disappointed at Rick Ross in that way. But practicing what he preaches, especially when he has talking so bad about Birdman and others being able to do it, and for him not to do it, I'm surprised a lot of those artists haven't, or those label CEOs haven't called him out about it. Surprised 50 Cent hasn't said anything about it either. Um, but Rick Ross has always had this ego, but now it got to a different level. And this stuff was a while ago, but it resurfaced recently. Um, but his dereliction of duty in this whole situation is just disturbing to me. But he just needs to take accountability for it and not make excuses, especially the pay excuse. That doesn't alleviate you from what you said you were supposed to do as a man of your word. That's all you have, and that's what you need to live up to. So he definitely didn't do that. So, but he's one of the few voices in hip hop that I actually listen to for advice, or when they do an interview, they always give out this great message and these great um, gems, so to speak. Whether it be him or 50 Cent, sometimes Ice Cube does it. But there is a few voices that actually do it, and he's one of those voices. But in this time, he's really looking bad, and hopefully he takes accountability soon for it. But as lately, he's alleviated himself from all blame and all accountability, and it just doesn't look right. But more of the story, be humble, and everything that shouldn't have a price tag. Just be a man of your word. If you say you're going to do it, just do it. Until next time, I'll see you next time.